Aloha everyone, this is Hawaii's Pickle Lady. Today I'm going to make oxtail soup, a favorite of all the local people in Hawaii. But it's not made very often because it's kind of expensive. And I researched why it's so expensive. It's because they say that a average cow weighs about 700 pounds, and the oxtail, they only get about 60 pounds from it. So that's why it's so expensive. So I've bought it when it was on sale. If not, it's very expensive. So I have here a pot of water that's been boiling, and this is the oxtail here. Now, when the oxtail already comes cut, you see it's very red here. But what I'm doing is I soaked it in water at least half hour or more. And you can see how much blood there is. So what I'm going, and then the color changes. The longer you leave it in, more the blood comes out, and then the meat becomes very whitish color. So after this, I'm going to rinse it off and then put it back in the pot. So you can see the scum here. So I try to take it all out every so often because, you know, it'll change color and it make the soup kind of funny. This is some cheesecloth that I have wrapped. There's fresh ginger that I smashed really good. And then I put some star anise in it. And then I'm going to put it in the water. So after this, I'm going to rinse this off, this other, get off all the blood as much as I can. And then I'm going to put it back, and then I'm going to simmer it for 1 hour. And I'll see you after that. Okay, I'm skimming out the oil. And you just have to do it slowly. Take out as much as you can. Now, some people will refrigerate this overnight and just let the oil get hard and then just take it out. But we don't have time. And you can see how much oil is in the bowl, and I still can take out more. So it's been cooking for 1 hour, and what you do, I had to bring it to a boil first and then simmer it for 1 hour. So now I'm going to add the peanuts, and the peanuts I soaked overnight. These are, I get these from Chinatown. They're already peeled, and I soaked them overnight, and you see they've swelled up. So I'm going to pour it in here. Now these are the Chinese dried mushrooms that you can get from Chinatown. So what I did was I soaked it, but I soaked it overnight. And then after that, I cut off the stems because they're very tough. And then I sliced them. So now I'm pouring in the dried mushrooms that have been soaked. Now I've added the dried mushrooms, which they sometimes call shiitake mushrooms, but I'm also going to add straw mushrooms. But I'm not adding it now because it's kind of soft and I don't want it to get really, really soft. Okay, so I'm going to let this cook another hour and then we'll come back. Now usually they just add one kind of mushrooms, but I happen to have both. So I did the dry mushrooms, which are hydrated, and then later on I'll use the straw mushrooms. So if you have only one kind, use that. You don't have to use both. It's your choice. Okay, the soup has been cooking for another hour, and now it's time to add the veggies. And I'm adding carrots, celery, and bok choy, which is white cabbage. I usually like Chinese mustard, the old ones. Okay, I want to show you. This is the cheesecloth that I have the star anise and the ginger. And the reason why I put it in here is because you don't want to bite into star anise or ginger. It's not very pleasant. So you can see the oxtail is pretty soft now. Let's poke it. But it still can go further. They say they like it fall off the bone. So at 2 hours, it's pretty good. Okay. And now I'm going to add the veggies. Carrots, cabbage, and celery. This makes a big pot, but when you got a big family like ours, you got to make a lot. Okay. Also, the peanuts, they're very soft now. So you have to soak it, like I said, overnight. And then it took about 2 hours for it to get pretty soft. Okay, now I'm adding 2 cans of the straw mushrooms. And again, you can add other kind of mushrooms too. So now I'm just going to mix it all up and let it cook another half hour. And you see how pretty it looks? So colorful. And again, I took out the oil, excess oil. So you take out as much as you can. And like I said, every so often you come and you take out the oil and the scum. But now I think it's pretty good. So you can see this bowl, that's how much oil I took out. So you don't want to eat this when all the oil is in there. It's too greasy. So I'll let this cook, let it come to a boil, and let it simmer for another half hour. You see, and I'm going to try to lift this up. I can't even lift it. I need help. This weighs probably about 25 to 30 pounds. You see, I have a hard time doing it. So, but with our family, 6 people, 5 in our house, and 1 more, the official taste tester, Austin. So we'll let this cook, but I tell you, I can't even lift this for the life of me. So we'll see you in half hour. Okay, the oxtail has been cooking for 2.5 hours total. And it's in the big pot here, so I just scooped some out so I can show you and I'll get to taste it. It's really colorful. You see all the vegetables, so you can see everything. Carrots, mushrooms, peanuts, celery, and also the bag that I had wrapped up in cheesecloth that had the ginger and the star anise, I threw it out because again, you don't want to bite into those 2 things. It'd be really yucky. So I have a few pieces of the oxtail here, and you really want it what they call fall off the bone, and I'll show you on the bigger piece. You see, I can just take the spoon and the meat just falls off the bone. So I'm just going to taste a little bit and take some from the small piece, some peanuts and some veggies. And again, this will be good for your dinner. You can have this as a side dish or main dish, whatever, okay? Very tasty. And the broth, I didn't add anything else to it because all the meat has a flavor in it. And then the peanuts are soft enough that you can just bite into it. I'm gonna take another piece, and you see it's really fall off the bone because here's the bone and here's all the meat. And finger licking good. Really tasty. Just melted in my mouth. I can't wait to finish it all. It's so good. So anybody you serve this to will be very happy. If you like this video, smash that like button. Comment and subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to click that notification bell so that when we make videos like this, you'll be notified. If you have any suggestions, let me know. So thank you for watching. Mahalo.